Last time I was talking about how I had refined my electronics, and what I needed to do was now start making the different cables that are going to run to the outside of my box, and that's what I've been working on. So here's one of those cables. Let me go ahead and zoom in just a little bit here. So this one here is for my temperature sensor. This is the LM34DZ analog Fahrenheit temperature sensor. So I've got it wired up so that this can go on the outside of my box, and then this will simply plug into my analog port. I don't recall exactly which one it is, but let's say that's my analog port. I can plug that into that connection there and then program that to receive my temperature. I also have wired up an infrared receiver so that I can communicate with my board and in turn do maybe configuration kinds of things using a TV type remote. So I've got my sensor there, there's a resistor in there as well, and so once again that's simply going to plug in right into that header connector. I've also wired up a couple of switches. This particular switch is being used for my reset. It's got the two wires. I simply need to make the connection there, pulling that reset pin low. So I've got this one here for my reset switch. I've got an identical switch, but this one is wired as an input for my I/O. So this one would be used to go into the configuration mode. My idea right now is if this one is my reset switch, I'll do reset, hold in my other switch to go into the configuration mode, release my reset switch, then in the setup portion of my program it's going to notice that, hey, they want to go into the setup mode, and then that'll give me a series of prompts for controlling the display. I'm also looking at the possibility of having additional switches, because one of the things I may want to configure is have it set up so that there are pre-programmed messages, and those could be programmed by the individual, but then I could toggle through those or select those by pushing a particular button or set of buttons. So I've not quite figured that portion out as to what I'm going to do, but I've got certainly the ability to add additional switches quite easily to that. But I know at the very least I'm going to need two, my reset switch and a configuration mode or selector switch. I've also wired a communication connector. So this would plug in, communicate through the serial port. I'm just using a stereo connector at this point. Maybe giving this a try and see how this works. The idea here is that I could connect this up to the computer and not necessarily be using the Arduino software to configure or program this, but have a series of prompts transmitted via the serial port to a terminal program, and then by responding back in that terminal program make selections and type in what you want displayed. And so it give a little bit more of access to what's going on in configuring the particular program. The only thing I really have left to make then is going to be the LED. I need to have my external LED wired up, and then I need to make the box. It's still the big part I still need to do. And I need to work on the software. I've been working on a little bit on that, and I've had some issues in getting my library to update. That whenever I want to change my font, it's not working. Whenever I want to change individual characters, my font's not working. Not being a programmer per se, it's going to take me a little bit of work to figure out what's going on when I'm not doing correctly there. So that's going to be another big challenge. So those are going to be my two major steps that I've got to accomplish: get the box made for this and get the program done. All right, again, thank you very much. Stay tuned. I appreciate if you'd subscribe, and I'll keep you up to date with additional videos.